Morning and welcome to this week's Coffee and Conversation. Earlier this week, I had a quote from Esther Perel as my quote of the day. The quality of our life is determined by the quality of our relationships. Think about that. As long as you have somewhere to live, it doesn't matter how big or small the house is. The richest people have quality relationships. And you don't have to have 1,000 friends or 500 friends. That's crap. You need a small group of friends. And I was reminded how much this can really impact you. In the last week, I received 2 phone calls. Now, I used to be a safety professional for 30 years. And my last client I was with for over 5 years. And I developed some friendships and relationships there. And about 10 days ago, I was at a balloon gig. And right before I started, the phone rang. And it was Clayton, one of the nicest human beings you'll ever meet. And he thought of me and he just wanted to give me a call, see how I was doing, how the full-time coaching thing was going, and how I was doing as a person. I'd thought about the guys from back there, but I hadn't stopped by in a long time. I haven't been there, and honestly, it was awesome to hear from them. Literally the following Wednesday, so this would be last Wednesday, Brian calls me, the ops manager. He said, I've been thinking of you and I just saw a red Corolla and I decided to call you. And we talked for 20 minutes. His kids are doing great. Family's great. He's getting some things in line. And it was nice to know how I'm thought about by those folks. And then prior to those calls the week before, a dear old friend of mine, Paul, called. And I hadn't talked with him in a while, and I kind of had in my head, I need to give him a call. And we talked for 30, 40 minutes. And it's caused me to reach out to a couple of people that I was due to talk to. And so, are you nurturing those relationships? Because if you ignore them, they'll die off. And the really deep ones, the great relationships, you can just pick up the phone. It could be 6 months. It's like you talked last week. It could even be a year. Paul's like that. Great guy. I was best man at his wedding. And so I want to make sure everyone's focusing on what matters. It ain't stuff. It's relationships. It's quality relationships. It's the move a body friends. So I want you to think, is there anybody you haven't talked to in a while that when you think about that, it's inexcusable and you need to reach out and talk to them? Are you nurturing the relationships at home with your kids, your wife, your girlfriend? All right, guys, have a great week. We'll talk with you next week.